So I tried to record this so many times. I'm like, why do I have that perfectionist mindset? Anyways, this is it. This is all we're doing. So let's reintroduce again. It felt a little fake the fourth time. Hey babe, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to help guide you through the art of surrendering and what life might be teaching you right now. What cycles does it come in, and how to navigate through it, and what it means if you listen to it, right? Okay, so we all know we're having like a super full moon. I don't consider myself really, obviously, I'm very into spirituality, science, like just all of the above, okay? I'm not gonna go into full detail because that's not what we're talking about right now, but I feel called to help people navigate the death and rebirth, the awakening process, because I personally feel like I have been through this cycle so much that I kind of get excited about it now, but I also tell Source, we can calm down. We don't have to make it a full thing, we can do a little gentler. So also that's what we're going to talk about too, is how to work with God, source, energy, divine, whatever you prefer to call it. It doesn't matter what you believe in, and I know a lot of religious people might feel triggered by that, but I'm not saying that. Like, I'm just saying that however you view your higher source, it doesn't matter here. This is a safe place. You're allowed to believe in what you do. And I just want to give information that has helped guided me, and information I feel like I'm getting because I'm supposed to share, right? So anyways, life has been lifing, right? And I have been through this so many times that I now can see through a bird's eye view, which wasn't always necessarily the case, right? So I'm like, if I know this information and I want to feel like it's not for no reason, I need to start helping other people that are going through this process as well. I mean, my trauma has gave me a disadvantage, but it's actually given me a really big advantage because I've been through what most people go through as an adult, and because of that, it's given me a lot of wisdom, right? So now I feel like people that are going through these, I should help guide them to make it a little less devastating and to feel like there's a higher purpose, right? So right now I feel like life is literally like stripping us. Might leave a couple clothing, maybe a necklace and a pair of earrings, not completely strip you, but we are being anyways, this full moon is like, yep, it's time to shift. So basically, I don't count for sure, but I think it comes in threes. So whenever I'll go through months where I feel on cloud nine, right? And I've had to tell myself to stop preparing for the worst, because naturally, since I was always such a depressed person and so much happened to me at a young age, I was always preparing for the next thing that I didn't really necessarily give myself the grace or let myself enjoy when I'm not in a cycle of chaos, right? So I've been learning how to really soak more into the joyful moments than the chaos moments. But there's a lot that I've learned since I used to really sit with the chaos, And what I can tell you is I've learned that it comes usually in a certain amount of cycles. Like, I want to say 3. It's like when you're getting ready to shift into a higher timeline, there's like 3 events around that tend to happen. And it's like first one's kind of like, oh damn, a little hit, you're feeling a little ungrounded, you're like, I don't know. Second one, you're like, okay, here we are. Third one, you're like, gonna lose it. But to stand in your power during that time and to remind yourself that this is an invitation to see what no longer is serving me. What can outstand this cycle if it's coming into my next chapter, and what is no longer gonna be in my reality? And it doesn't matter if it's a job, person, place, anything, okay? So right now I feel like I'm having a lot of home life things happen all in 1 week, and it really got to me for a second, because if you know me, my house is my favorite thing about life. this is the best thing that I feel like has happened to me for a long time. I just really adore this place, and unfortunately it has been making me extremely uncomfortable lately. And at first I started to fall back into victim mode, which I have been for many years in my life, and I was like, oh my god, like, why is life coming at me? Just fucking stop, I don't want this anymore, you know. And then I was like, wait a minute, there's one area in particular that this is happening, right? And it's my home life. Like, what is this trying to show me? Is this trying to show me that, like, that I need to clean up around here? I need to do some inner work? Like, I asked my intuition, right? I was like, what am I feeling that this is showing me? And this takes work. This isn't gonna be like, oh, I just feel everything and know everything. No, like, I have been for the past 4 years trying to get to know what my guidance system, what's a full body yes, what's a full body no. Like, I've really worked with myself. So don't be mad at yourself if at first you're like, I don't know what the hell it's trying to teach me. It's the curiosity that leads you to wisdom, right? Curiosity is wisdom. So if you start to play with this, eventually it's going to just start coming. It's like you know, you go to the gym, you're not just going to get abs one time. You're going to have to keep working out that muscle. So basically, when I'm seeing all this happen in my home life, at first it crumbled me. I was getting very angry, lashing out, and I'm like, whoa. And I realized, oh, I'm grieving. I am literally in a grieving process, and it doesn't take what is happening to you, replace. Mine's my house, yours is maybe a relationship, a job, something. So I'm like, okay, I'm grieving because a lot is coming up. Like, I'm crying, I'm feeling irritable. Like, I know this feeling, I've went through it enough. So then I'm like, why am I grieving? And then I'm looking around me, I'm like, oh my God, my house is like, I'm being pushed out. The universe is pushing me out. There is one thing after another, all in a week, and it's just trying to show me, it's not going against me. It's telling me, hey babe, in a nice way, I know you really like this place, and it did so amazing for your growth, right? And you really loved who you became here, but what if there's more? Are these problems that you can fix? Or are these problems that feel out of your control? And if they're out of your control, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? Is it worth fixing, or is it worth staying? This full moon's gonna strip ya and rip ya and rebirth ya. But going through the tunnel is a little suffocating, you know, especially if you don't ground yourself or you don't know what's going on. So yeah, just bringing awareness to what this full moon's showing you. And if you're genuinely getting a little confused or uneasy about what is happening, ask the universe over and over again. And you can ask guides. You don't have to just narrow yourself down to one thing. And don't get me wrong, like, I believe in Jesus Christ fully, 1,000%. And I call on him daily. But I also have a whole army behind me. And something about that makes me feel so good. First off, I have way more people than average people that have died. Like, it's actually absurd. So therefore, I feel like when I call them in, I already have alone, just with them, a whole army behind me that I call my ancestors. And I call in my ancestors that only have the highest good of all. Because of course, we have some ancestors that probably didn't have the best intentions, sending them love and light. But I call in my ancestors that want to help me, want to help the earth, want to help God, you know, walk the highest path. So, and then I call, of course, God, ascended masters, all that. And I ask them clear as day, show me, give me a sign, get any fears, any attachments, clear them, strip them. And when I've been in these cycles, it used to literally cripple depression me, right? I felt so tag teamed. I would get on social media, nobody's talking about this stuff. They're just seeming like everything's normal. And I want to let you know, this doesn't have to be scary, and it will probably be scary until you get the hang of it. But now that I finally have realized what these cycles mean, I almost get not excited, but a little excited, because first off, if you're being pushed, universe, God, whoever is not going to push you unless you need a wake-up call of some sort. And then yeah, maybe Oreo, sorry, I have a bee infestation at my house, so my dog keeps trying to eat them. So the universe would never just kick you off a cliff, right? Unless there's a bungee cord, a soft pillow to catch ya. And when they catch ya, you're gonna land into a new reality of a new you. It's stripping you of those old identities, right? And in your new identity, you can't bring your old identity with you, or things that have kept you locked into that old identity. And doesn't mean you can't bring things with you, because you can, but those things have to be willing to grow. And that's why this death and rebirth is so painful, because you might love some of these things, but it could be holding you back. And that's not me saying, oh, everybody in your life's gotta go. No. If people are honoring the new you, yes, you will have to create boundaries, and boundaries might create the ending of things. And also, is your soul calling for more? Is it calling for more? During this time, the main thing to do that can get you through all of this is to be curious, stay faithful, and remember, like, ask yourself, like, if you start to fall down into the rabbit hole of, God, life just is always, it's always me, it's always something. Maybe it's because life's trying to wake you up to more. If you're getting that knock, 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 how many times does life have to knock? And how loud does the knock have to get? So before you put yourself through that, and I have so many times, I think I still do sometimes. Sometimes just because you're awoke doesn't mean you're always gonna see the knocks, right? Or if you're ready to answer the door, sometimes we like to sit with that suffering. And I think sitting with the suffering does, I wouldn't suggest sitting with it, but like there is still golden nuggets that come out of that, right? So that's why you don't shame, don't punish, don't compare your journey, because there could be something still serving that's still there. And until you're ready to give that up, that's where you're gonna be, right? And I think we have our own I know we have our own free will, right? So that's why, like, it's important to call in help, because you have the free will to do it on your own, to thug it out and all that, right? But like, you're allowed, it's your birthright to ask for that help, to ask for that guidance. My eye twitched. And also to manifest, and I know it's so overused, but genuinely, I have done it. And it's almost like every time I get asked to manifest again, I forget my powers of when I've done that in the past. And it's almost like life won't, because it's trying to remind you, you've done this once, do it again, but this time better. Give yourself the time and space to grieve what you just went through, what you are letting go. Honor that, feel that, don't push the feelings away, don't run away from it, don't shame yourself, don't be like, I don't know why this, and I get guilty of this sometimes too. I don't know why this is coming up. Good. Be that person for the people around you that give the passive, hey, you're safe with me, you're allowed to cry, you're allowed to feel, you're allowed to talk about things here, because now you're making a deeper connection with the people around you. And if they leave, that's the shit I'm talking about. Why would you want somebody in the corner that can't even hold space for you? Hard. I know, because I'm sure you're thinking of quite a few people that you feel like you're holding a lot of space for that don't also hold space for you, or just you're not aligning with. There has to be, sometimes there's nothing wrong. Sometimes it's just you feel like you're outgrew each other. And that one's the hardest. Me. When you really love and care about somebody, but you don't know what else to do because you're just not really on the same path anymore. And when you end certain things energetically, you are now shutting that and giving more room for new things. But if you're constantly keeping all these networks open, which I used to love to do. I used to love the fact that I was friends with everybody. And God, did that put me on burnout. And didn't allow me to have these deep connections because I was spreading my energy so many other ways. So if you're looking for more deeper connections, deeper life, more fulfilling, you're gonna have to shed those things that are not. This journey's not easy. You wake up to a lot of darkness, but to see the darkness is to also transmute the darkness into light. And instead of giving your power away or taking your power back. And there's a process between embodying the power, like learning the power and embodying it. And I feel like that's honestly the longest window. Is you'll get excited about learning, discovering who you are, and then boom, you hit a point where you're like, damn, like, okay, when's this starting to, I know all this information, but when am I gonna walk the walk, talk the talk? But you gotta surrender to that. My main point to all of this is if you just surrender, it's not you versus life. It's more of like a flow. If you're like, hey God, hey spirit team, hey everybody, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I am overwhelmed. I feel lost. I feel lonely. Show me the way. I surrender. I give this to you. I trust you're showing me something. Make it loud and clear. Give me clarity. Might not pop up 1 to 2 days, but trust and believe it'll pop up when it needs to. And just keep getting curious about what your voice is, how you feel. And you'll feel it. You'll start to, the more you do it, the more you'll start to feel into it. And then follow that feeling. And that's when surrendering feels more like embodiment, because at first surrender is the same thing as like walking the walk, right? At first you're gonna surrender and you're just gonna be like, I don't really know what surrender is. Like, I'm reading the definition, I'm seeing it, I'm doing it, but like I don't feel it. The more you practice dropping into surrender, the easier it'll be and the more joyful it'll be. Back in the day when I thought I was surrendering, which I was doing, it didn't feel like anything. This time around, I'm surrendering because last time I went through, it's like all the times I went up to these trials and tribulations, right? They were always trying to teach me something. And before I brought awareness into it, I just thought life was happening to me. But now I'm constantly, when I'm in these phases, I know it's trying to show me something to help me grow and to step into a new version of myself. And growth is painful. So because I tested divine so much the past 2 cycles I've probably been through, and every single time I asked for clear answers, I got them. This time around, I'm not gonna say I've been perfect, and no, I've been really moody, I'm not gonna lie, and I've been apologizing to my family, and for once I'm taking up space and it feels good, because I haven't always done that. But I'm learning I have a good support system around me because I've worked hard on getting that, right? And when you work on yourself, that also deepens the relationships with you around, because you're deepening who you are, and people can only get to know you as much as you know yourself. And then when you're stepping into your authentic self, other people are gonna see you do it, and you're gonna inspire them, and that's going to make other people grow. And then they're gonna make you grow because they're gonna learn different ways you do, right? I know I'm kind of all over the place. That's my ADHD or whatever, but more of the story is, like this time around, I definitely am not going to act like I don't feel anything. I've been crying nonstop because this has been the chapter I'm in has been one of my most favorite chapters, and I know it's coming to an end, but I know that it's only coming to an end because I'm being asked for something more, something greater. And every time you think you know what you want, it ends up being better than what you thought you wanted. And reflect on times where you thought you weren't gonna fucking make it, and then things got really good. The main thing that can keep you trapped is when you stay in victim mode. And I'm not discrediting anything anybody has been through, because if anybody gets it, it's me. I have lost so many people close to me. It's actually like almost like a joke. It's not a joke, but it's like, for real? Even today I was at therapy, you know, and I was telling her about, you know, some things, and she's like, wow, it seems like you didn't even have time to like process, because another one would come. I'm like, yeah. You know, and it would be very triggering for people to talk about God, the divine, when so many things were happening to me, and I was just like, what? And so I was very deep into feeling like life was out to get me, and that's such a scary place to be. And as somebody that's been there, I can tell you that when you step out of that, you'll see how much power, how much gifts are hidden in those things that life was trying to show you. But first you gotta snap out of it, however that might look like for you. I think my next video is going to be grounding techniques, how to use magic to manifest, especially when you're in a cycle, because I do feel like when we're in a cycle, it's almost because God wants you to ask for help. And when I say that, I don't mean like when my mom died of cancer, I prayed. It's actually kind of sad. I literally even messaged it as while Obama was in office, and I literally kept commenting on all of his posts, like, please help me find the cure to cancer, my mom, Like, it's kind of sad when you think about it like that, but like, even that was one of my greatest teachers, and I will forever be grateful for the compassion it taught me, for the love of life. I know how fragile life is now. I know how important it is to take care of your health, how important it is to feed your relationships, because my mom was kidders. Sorry, they keep wanting to play with these bees. But because of that, I don't have time for half-ass shit in my life, you know? Life's short. It really is. Like, yeah, it feels long, but it's short. So make sure who you have around you is people that you'd want around you. You gotta live. And until you choose to start living, it might always feel that way, until one day it doesn't. And for me, it was quick. It was such a snapping moment that I thought I was gonna die, and I begged for basically mercy, because I couldn't take no more. And it changed in me. And I'm not gonna say that's your story, because we all have different journeys, but find out what is gonna get you to surrender, trust, and then move forward and be open to receiving. And if you're wondering, Sierra, of course I'd want to receive. Do you really want to receive? Do you really want to receive? Because let me ask you this. The last time somebody told you you looked pretty, last time somebody told you you looked handsome, not my dog barking, did you say thank you? Or were you like, oh, you know, today I forgot to brush my hair. Also, sometimes I'm guilty, you know. But like, how open are you to receiving? If somebody says, hey, can I buy you a coffee? Are you like, no, it's okay, I got it? Gifts could be getting sent to you in small form to see if you're ready, big form. And every time it's sent to you to see if you're ready, you deny it. Just because it's a low one doesn't mean it's getting you ready, babe. If you can't even take a cup of coffee, how the fuck are you going to take anything else? And that's why the inner work all starts with you. Nobody else. You can't control anything else but you. And that's scary, but also the most powerful thing you'll ever hear. So that's why you see on social media everybody talking about do the healing, do the inner work, do. Because that's the magic. But it's a journey. And it definitely can be really magical at first. And then you can hit some really hard points where you feel like you're doing it all for nothing. But then it's almost like a test to see if you're really faithful to your journey, if you're actually doing it from an intention of an open heart. And if you are, the less these hits are going to feel because you're coming with pure intentions. But divine is not going to gift you with such powerful gifts if you don't know how to handle them properly, because gifts in the wrong hands, no way. We see how that goes, right? So how can you purify yourself to come from a neutral standpoint? By neutral, I mean there's no such thing as good or bad. Like, yes, there's obviously things in the world that we're like, whoa. But be curious of how you can show compassion, still come from your heart, still have boundaries. It's like a whole paradox, you know? You gotta find that sweet spot in the middle of everything. And where you find that is where the gold is hidden. And it's not always gonna be balanced. Right now, I don't feel balanced. But the more I surrender, the easier it feels. And yeah. So, I feel like if you're going through a challenging time, I hope this helped. I really hope you kind of look to get curious about what this new moon is, full moon is trying to show you, what even life's getting ready to prepare for you. Because I was going through it last week, even 2 days ago, I felt I was crying, but like it slowly you'll feel like you're in a nothingness. And then the joy will start to come back slowly and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm feeling good. Maybe I'm coming out of it. And then you might get a bad day again, come up again. And then you just remember, at the end of the day, you're the creator. You don't have to stay in that. You can trust that whatever's coming is going to be a million times better than whatever you feel like is being stripped of you. And when you surrender to that, that's when you can stand in your power. But our mind's gonna try and convince us of, no, this is the wrong thing. Like, maybe you don't know what's like best for you. Like, how do you know? Like, your mind's just gonna keep playing these like games with you. And the moment you just start to catch it, and you kind of like, once you start to catch it enough, you start to kind of laugh at it. And you're like, oh, I'm glad you're trying to protect me, mind. I'm my sweet self. There's obviously things that have happened. Get curious about that. That has made me feel that way. But that's not who I am anymore. That's not my identity no more. And I think I'm going to follow the path of like, what if it did all work out? And like I said, if you're in a path of like feeling the opposite, it's going to take some time to weed the grass on that path. But if you stay faithful, even in times where life tries to show you, go back to your old one, go back to your old one, like this isn't working out. It doesn't work out until it does. And now you're changing the path of your family. My family very much had the mindset of like, oh, we got bad luck. Oh, da, 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 da. That ends with me. So what's gonna end with you? I'm wishing you so much love and happy timelines. I'm giving you grace, compassion, and support during this time. And I hope you find a way to lead with your heart and allow yourself to feel these feelings that are coming up with curiosity. And now asking yourself after that, like, what does my dream life look like and how can I step into that? So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Sorry if I repeated myself a little much today. I am new to making these videos and I fought it for a long time and I'm kind of being pushed to no longer let my perfectionism and imposter syndrome to like keep back spreading the love. even if it helps one person. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Bye, guys.